Thanks for tuning into our seller interview series. Up today, we've got an Amazon affiliate site for sale in the transportation and consumer electronics niche. The site was created in September 2015, and this business makes $4,470 per month in net profit. And the listing number for this site is 40624. Now, we do these interviews to give potential buyers more information about both the seller and the sites they're looking to purchase. We hope these insights are helpful for you in making a buying decision. We've got the seller with us today to go over everything from monetization and niche selection. Thanks for coming on, Ben.
Yeah, hi Greg. Good to be here.
Yeah, and just to give a quick summary of the business for our listeners out there, this business was built in September 2015 as a monthly revenue of $4,470 with expenses sitting at a whopping $35 per month and a net profit of $4,435. And that is over a 3-month average. Included with this sale will be the domain, all the files and content, and obviously the social media accounts are also going to be included with the sale. So Ben, you've actually sold on our marketplace a few times with us, and obviously I know a bit about you, but for our audience out there, can you tell us a little bit about your background in building and running online businesses?
Yeah, sure. So I'm from the UK, and mostly I've been based in Southeast Asia for the last 2 or 3 years. And in that time, I've pretty much been doing SEO for a living, and I like building these kind of Amazon affiliate sites, mostly because of the kind of the passive income aspects. And it's pretty rewarding as well to just build these sites up, and when they receive some traffic and then start generating earnings, it's pretty cool.
How did you come up with the idea for this website specifically, without obviously giving away the niche?
So for this one, it was kind of a product that was becoming quite popular. So I kind of investigated and kind of saw whether it might be profitable in terms of like the product price, traffic from Google. And yeah, I mean, it wasn't really my passion, but it's a pretty cool niche to be in.
Yeah, I agree. For someone that isn't super familiar with online businesses and maybe not even familiar with Amazon affiliate, could you describe how this website makes money just very briefly?
Sure. So it mostly receives organic traffic from Google. And then from there, the visitors can read about these different products. And it has lots of reviews and ratings of the different models you can choose from. And from there, it's monetized so that if people click on the product, if they're more interested, they can go to Amazon and you make the earnings based on anything they buy.
And why are you selling the business? Like you mentioned earlier before, these sites can be pretty passive as far as what kind of work it takes to maintain them once they get going. Why not keep it and grow it?
Yeah, I mean, if you actually look at the traffic for, say, since it began, it's still, the general trend is up. So it's still kind of, I mean, it's a good sign, obviously. I guess for me, I'm building a lot of these sites at the same time. And when you have too many, it's hard to give all of them a lot of attention. So it's nice to kind of just sell 1 or 2 of them, and then you can focus on others.
Okay, cool. So you're selling it basically so you can focus mainly on other projects. Are you using the money from the sale to infuse or invest into these other sites you're building as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and perhaps building some more sites too.
Excellent. When you first began this site, tell me what the trajectory was for this business. Was it pretty easy to start getting traffic, or did it take a while for the site to make its first sale, or was it a pretty quick process?
It was unbelievably quick. I think because it's quite a new niche. I mean, these days it normally takes quite a lot of time to rank on Google, but when there's a new niche, I think there's no choice, right? You have to rank like new content because the whole thing is new. So if this website kind of just within a month, it was earning very good money. So it's pretty interesting compared to others.
That is really surprising. That was not the answer I thought I was going to hear. That's pretty cool, though. It makes sense. There are a lot of niches out there, especially like you said, the newer ones that fresh content is the king of the day for those niches. So that's cool.
That's right, yeah.
Is there anything you learned from this business in particular that you're going to apply to your future sites and businesses?
I mean, I guess that was quite a good thing to learn. The the way you can rank in new niches very fast. Yeah, probably diversification as well, because this site it's got quite a brandable domain. And I started off with like one type of product and then kind of created more content targeting like similar like transportation products. So which is why the earnings have kind of been growing this year, basically.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm always a big fan of the brandable domains, as you know.
Yeah.
What have you tried with this that didn't work? Is there anything that stands out?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the original products that were targeted, they became very popular. And then there was a bit of a problem. They were kind of removed from stores, including Amazon. But then this year they come back, they're for sale again, and they're not quite as popular as like the end of last year, but the traffic is stable. So you know where you stand a bit better.
Yeah, that's one thing I really like about this site, because the niche did receive quite a bit of hype when it first came about, but now that hype is kind of dead, but you still obviously are earning a great income from this site. And I actually prefer the consistency over the hockey stick from all the hype. So I think that's pretty good. Definitely the buyer can see where the trend is going, and it's a realistic trend instead of a fad kind of trend.
Absolutely, yeah.
To move into more of the traffic and earnings, I'm assuming pretty much 100% of the traffic is organic, or do you have any other sources that is coming from anywhere else?
You know what, I would have to double check, but I think a very high percentage is organic, but I would suspect there's some people that might be like returning visitors, because if you look at the articles, some of them do have like quite a lot of interaction with the audience, people like posting lots of comments. So the content is it's genuinely useful to people, so it's pretty cool.
That is awesome. So you actually have people commenting on your articles for the site.
That's right, yeah. It's got like, I think one article has over 100 comments. So
wow. Maybe you'll turn into a blogger. How stable are the earnings? That we already mentioned that the hype has kind of died down, so now it's more consistent level. Have you found that the earnings have been pretty consistent month to month?
Yeah, I mean, for the last few months, they're not as high as they were at the end of last year, but I mean, as we touched on before, the earnings are pretty good now, and more importantly, they're quite stable as well. So I'd say that's a good point.
And then to break down the earning type, is it mainly just like one product that you're selling, or do you have multiple different Amazon reviews that are all selling kind of equally?
Yeah, I mean, there's basically like two different sub niches that are receiving a lot of traffic from Google. So it's probably like one of them is responsible for, I think, about 3/4 of the earnings, and then the remaining 25% is mostly a different type of product. So there's a little bit of diversification there.
And how much content would you say is on the actual site? Are you adding on a pretty regular monthly basis, or is it pretty hands-off now?
Yeah, it's pretty hands-off. I mean, there is quite a lot of articles. I don't know off the top of my head, but it's there's quite a few, and I probably add content not so much as I used to, maybe 1 or 2 articles per month.
Now, if you wanted to keep the site, and let's say you're not going to sell it, you just wanted to keep it and grow it, what would be the least risky path you would take to grow the site?
The least risky, perhaps just working on the existing content to try and rank it higher, because there are some pages which are kind of, if they had a little bit of a boost, they might be on page 1. At the moment, they might be like page 2 kind of thing. They just, a little bit more work might shift them up a bit.
And what do you think would be the fastest way to grow this business? So if you just decide to throw caution to the wind, you didn't care how risky it would be, what would you do?
Perhaps a riskier version would be to kind of, because these products are quite suitable for drop shipping or Amazon FBA, that would be an option. And perhaps there may be a seller who is already in this niche, so they could use the website to promote their own products.
That's interesting. So promote their own, yeah. So promote their own products, like their own products that they might introduce into the niche. Is that what you mean?
Well, I mean, maybe they would already be in this niche, perhaps selling the physical product, and then they could kind of use this website to get more traffic or more sales.
Yeah, kind of like an Amazon affiliate to Amazon FBA play.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, that's a great strategy. What do you think the biggest risk is for a site like this that buyers should be aware of?
Yeah, so we kind of touched on the niche that it was really hot the end of last year. So if you were to get into it then, it would certainly be a bit of a risk because in hindsight you can see that it's not quite so popular now. So yeah, the niche people may be a bit skeptical about, but as I touched on before, it is pretty stable now.
Can you describe the amount and type of work you're doing right now to maintain the site? Are you doing anything currently on a weekly or monthly basis?
Literally just the new content. I don't think I built any new links for a couple of months. So yeah, it's very passive.
Nice. And any skills or requirements you'd suggest for someone not familiar with this niche that's looking to purchase this site?
To be honest, I mean, most people have probably heard of these devices. So most people should have a general idea. It probably helps if you're kind of maybe if you have some kind of passion for this niche, that would be pretty cool. But it's not too specialized or anything. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I agree. I definitely think that someone who buys the site will most likely understand what the products are. And there is a lot of different products that could potentially promote, especially with the branded domain. To kind of wrap this up, would you be willing to commit to a non-compete just so if someone buys the site, you don't happen to build another site just like it a week later?
Yeah, absolutely. That's no problem.
And how much support would you be willing to offer a buyer?
I think I'd probably do 2 hours of a phone call, and then I think a month email support would be hopefully enough.
Excellent. These sites tend to be pretty easy to run once they're up and going, so I imagine that would be enough for most buyers.
Sure.
Obviously, the best case scenario here, by the way, is for Empire flippers and for you, someone to come in and buy this full out for the full list price. But would you at all be open to an earnout or a split, say like 70% up front, 30% closing, or 60% up front and 40% over the next 4 months, anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty high value website. So, yeah, I would perhaps be open to a small earnout kind of thing, but I'd be looking for most of the cash up front.
Yeah, for sure. So, before I ask you my last question, Ben, let me just go into a quick summary again for everyone out there listening of what this business has. For the quick summary, it was built in September 2015 as a monthly revenue of $4,470. The expenses are sitting at $35, and the net profit is $4,435. Included with the sale is the domain, all the files and content, and all the social media accounts attached to this business. So, Ben, for my final question, what is your best pitch in 30 seconds or less on why someone should purchase this business?
Okay, sure. Okay, somebody should purchase this site because the earnings are very stable. It's a pretty cool niche to be in, and it suits a variety of buyers. For somebody looking for passive income, it would be perfect, but it's also good for somebody who's perhaps good at Amazon FBA or into drop shipping. It would be suitable for them as well.
Excellent. I agree with that. So for those people out there watching this on YouTube or Dailymotion or somewhere else, the link to this actual listing on our marketplace will be below the video, and it will take you to our marketplace listing. Now, if you're watching this on the actual listing itself and you want more information, you can become a depositor today. It's really easy. All you have to do is click the button, make a deposit, and you'll be taken to the next step. So, Ben, thank you so much for coming on, man. It was an absolute pleasure as always.
No worries.